DNA, that was the topic at the center of testimony during much of the Delphi murders trial today.
A DNA analyst took the witness stand today to share what they did and did not find at the spot where the bodies of Abby Williams and Libby German were found. Our senior investigative reporter Bob Siegel was in court today for that testimony.
And he joins us now live after just stepping out of the courtroom. And Bob, what's happening in court right now?
Ann and Scott, I want to bring you up to date on what is happening right now. The testimony first that's happening inside the courtroom. Really difficult testimony this afternoon. The jury is hearing from a crime scene analyst, an investigator with a specialty in blood stain pattern analysis. He's explaining how he thinks all the blood got to various spots around the crime scene, and that means more time for the jury to look at really graphic and horrible pictures of the two girls who were found dead there. I'm going to explain a little bit more about his testimony, and I want to warn you, it is graphic. So, crime scene investigator Pat Cicero says he believes Abby Williams was fatally injured right in the spot where her body was found. But he says Libby German was likely attacked in another spot nearby. He believes she bled to death a short distance away based on where the most blood was found at the scene. And he says he thinks her body was then dragged a short distance to a large tree, perhaps to try to make the body harder to detect. And he believes Libby's blood on a nearby tree, he says it was transferred there by some object. The jury really struggled seeing these images now for a second time. Several jurors shook their heads, looked away. They had a hard time looking back up at these really horrible images. At one point, the blood spatter expert said markings near Libby's eyes where she had some blood on her face. He said those markings were consistent with tears. And at that point, Abby's grandmother put her head down in her hands and she just wept. That testimony was this afternoon. This morning, we heard from a DNA expert at the state crime lab. That woman, Stacy Bozanowski, the woman, hopefully you're seeing that video right now, and she's the one on the right. She testified about the results of the DNA testing that she did on items recovered from the crime scene. Her biggest takeaway, she said there's no DNA whatsoever at the crime scene that is linked to Richard Allen. And there is no DNA recovered from inside Richard Allen's home that matches the two girls. Why would the state put on a witness to testify about that? Likely an effort for the state to get out ahead of what the jury is going to hear from the defense team, and that is the lack of DNA linking Richard Allen to the crime scene is one of the main things that they say proves he did not commit these crimes. Should mention, this afternoon, the testimony was extremely graphic, lots of pictures hard to see. This morning, getting a crash course in DNA and how that all works. The jury and some members of the gallery, they seem to kind of struggle to stay with that. At times, members of the gallery seemed, bluntly, they fell asleep. And that drew the ire of Judge Fran Gall. She said right before the lunch break, she said, "I do not conduct court in your bedrooms. I would appreciate you not sleeping in my courtroom." So again, right now, we want to tell you the testimony continues from the blood spatter expert. Emily Longnecker is in the front row, and she's taking in all that testimony since I had to step out. We'll have much more for you coming up on that testimony at 6. In Delphi, I'm Bob Siegel, 13 News.
Bob, thanks so much. And we do have an update on a case that's also linked to this case. It's the man who was tied to leaking evidence in the Delphi murders. We learned today he is no longer facing charges.
A Johnson County judge dismissed that misdemeanor charge that Mitch Westerman was facing. He told investigators while visiting the office of a defense attorney in this Delphi case, he took some pictures of the evidence photos and then shared them.
Westerman has now reached a deal with prosecutors, and they agreed to dismiss the case once he completed his pretrial diversion program.
We're going to take a closer look at all the developments in the Delphi murders trial during our Delphi debrief.
That's when Bob and Emily Longnecker and also our legal expert, Katie Jackson-Lindsay, will have discussions and go more in depth on what developed in court today.
You can watch that at 10 o'clock tonight on WTHR+. That's our streaming app. It's available on Apple TV, Roku, and Fire Stick.
Tonight, Indianapolis firefighters and investigators with the ATF are still trying to figure out what caused a massive fire downtown Saturday night.
This huge blaze caused catastrophic damage to the HVAF facility. That's an organization that helps homeless veterans. Now, we don't know yet what sparked those flames over the weekend, but we do know the vets are all safe.
Today, our Jenny Runovich saw an outpouring of community support to help these vets recover.
Lisa Leffel spent part of her Monday on a mission.
Household items and clothing.
Help veterans in crisis from a catastrophic fire.
Loaded up the car and brought some things downtown to hopefully help out and relieve some of their loss.
The donations come after the HVAF of Indiana facility went up in flames at 9th and Penn, gutting transitional apartments that help and house homeless Hoosier veterans.
It was heartbreaking to see. This is their home, their things are gone, and that's heartbreaking.
The fire burned for hours, displacing 48 people.
That was kind of the worst of it, but just kind of spread.
The nonprofit CEO is still assessing damage, but calls it devastating.
Most of it is burned. What's not burned is, soaked heavily with water damage. So, I think recovery is, we're talking about, 18 to 24 months. This is not something that's going to be back online serving veterans in the next week or so.
As the ATF and Indianapolis firefighters investigate what sparked the fire, Hildebrand is running into challenges with the aftermath.
We are having a little difficulty with hotels due to the Taylor Swift concert this weekend. So we originally located all the veterans in one hotel on early Sunday morning. We had to relocate all of them yesterday.
3 different hotels through next week. She says long-term housing will be a complex process until they rebuild. But in all this loss, we did witness signs of hope.
We got sweatsuits, we got towels.
After asking for donations and sharing an Amazon wish list,
So it's coming in. Thank God we got some help. So.
they're getting an outpouring of clothes, food, and hygiene items, plus money to pay for hotels and transportation, all to help veterans who were trying to turn their lives around, only to get life derailed again by fire.
And I think that fact alone means the rest of us who benefit from their service need to be willing to step up when they face crisis.
So again, if you'd like to give and help these Hoosier veterans recover, we have links right now on WTHR.com. In Indianapolis, Jenny Runovich, 13 News.
Jenny, thanks so much. And Jenny told us that the front part of that building did not get damaged in the fire, so their offices and also their food pantry are still open during regular hours.
Tonight at 5, 2 people are now in central Indiana hospitals after 2 police shootings.
The first involved Indianapolis Metro Police. That happened near 10th and North Sherman Drive on Sunday afternoon. A Metro police officer shot a man after a woman told them that she was being held by gunpoint by a man that she didn't know. Officers say the suspect then pointed a gun in the direction of them and a person who just happened to be there in the area. That's when police say they shot him before using a taser on him as well. Last word, we're told he's in critical condition and the officer involved is now on administrative leave.
A person is in the hospital tonight with non-life-threatening injuries after a shooting involving Southport police this morning. This happened near Madison Avenue and Stop 11 Road. Indiana State Police tonight are investigating. Southport police told them the suspect fired at least 1 shot during the chase on the south side, causing an officer to fire back. ISP tells us the suspect is now under arrest for outstanding warrants. Angela?
It's got mild Monday with a few high clouds, temperatures close to 70 degrees. We're still in the upper 60s right now. 68 at Morris Reservoir, 67 degrees in Tipton. We will stay in the 60s all the way through the evening hours. Eventual low temperatures in the upper 50s and low 60s, and then we will warm from there. A mild start to our Tuesday. We'll spend most of the morning in the 60s. High temperatures close to, if not just above, 80 degrees. 81 is the forecast high. 81 is the record high for tomorrow. Forecast high on Wednesday is 81 with a record of 82. Warm and windy the next couple of days and a look ahead to a rain chance in the 7-day.
Thanks, Angela. Well, tonight we're learning one of the men shot on the east side of Indianapolis over the weekend has died. The Maureen County coroner identified the victim today as 45-year-old Christopher Clark. He was one of 2 men shot Saturday afternoon. Metro Police say they found the suspect minutes later at a gas station. He also had been shot and was hospitalized in critical condition. The Marion County coroner is also identifying a 24-year-old man killed in a shooting near Brookside Park. Christian Hawley died in the shooting on Indy's Near East Side on Sunday night around 10:30 near Mass Ave and North Rural Street. That's where officers found Hawley's body in an alley. Metro Police tell us they couldn't find anyone who says that they were a witness to that shooting.
The Shelby County Sheriff's Department tonight is investigating the deaths of two men found in a home. Deputies responded to the house around 1:30 Sunday afternoon after getting a call about some shots that were fired. Investigators then discovered the bodies of a 39-year-old man from Wanamaker and a 28-year-old man from Fountaintown. They have not shared how those two people died.
Metro Police just wrapped up a major effort to stop domestic violence right here in Marion County.
This is called Operation Domestic Disruption. It's the 5th time they've done this in the last 2 years.
What you're looking at here is video from the operation that was shared by IMPD. They say it's designed to find violent abusers with open warrants. The deputy chief, Kendall Adams, tells us it's working.
Of the thousands of domestic violence warrants that are out there, we're going after what we consider the most violent.
Of the nearly 30 offenders on their radar for this operation, Metro Police say they found 18 so far.